One spring weekend, when I was a teenager, my mom came to wake me with these words: "Get up, there's a fire." Now, my mother was a known twisted, practical joker kind of person with a wild sense of humor. So my first thought was not that there was a fire. My first thought was, oh, she's just trying to get me up early on a Saturday. So I rolled over very slowly and I cracked an eyelid, and then I sat bolt upright with my eyes wide open because huge, black, roiling clouds of smoke were blowing and billowing past my bedroom window. I was up, dressed, had every room door closed against fire at that end of the house in record time. I still had no idea what exactly was on fire, but I didn't care, it didn't matter. I grabbed the cat, I throw her out the front door, and I hear my dad screaming for my mom outside, "Norm! Norma!" So I run back inside to try to find her. And she's nowhere. Finally, I go all the way down in the basement in the storage space under the stairs, and she's in there scrabbling around, pulling boxes off a shelf, and she whirls around and throws a couple boxes onto my arms. She says, "Take these outside." And I say, Mom, Dad's calling you. He's outside, he needs you. So she pushes past me and runs up the stairs and out the screen door, bang, it closes behind her. And I finally look down to see what I'm holding in my hands, and they are boxes of photographic slides. My parents never took pictures. Remember, we had no albums. We just had a slide projector and slides. So I think, okay, and I look around and I gather up as many of these boxes as I can carry, and then I run up the stairs and out the screen door, and bang, it closes behind me. And I keep on going all the way to the edge of the lawn where the grass kind of ends in the sumac, and then I just drop these boxes around my feet, and I turn around to see what's going on. And I look at the house, and it's chaos. Okay, so a little background. We had, at the time, 4 cars. We never had less than 2, and we sometimes had more than 4. My dad was always buying junkers and fixing them up. Car number 1 is in the garage, which is attached to the house, and it is a Volkswagen Bug, and the front tires are off. The axle is resting on concrete blocks, right, so he can work on it. Now, behind that is car number 2, and car number 2 is an old green Bel Air, and its battery is out, and it's charging in the house. And then behind that is car number 3, and that's some nameless old brown station wagon that doesn't run very well. It stalls a lot. And then off to the side is the good car, right? It's a used Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, and it's just had a wonderful new red paint job. The Volkswagen in the attached garage is on fire, spectacularly so. And what had happened was my dad had been working under the car with a trouble light, knocked the fuel line, fuel came out of the tank and rolled down onto the hot trouble light and ignited, okay? Not only that, next to the flaming car, inside the garage, up against the wall of the house, is a 500-gallon fuel oil tank for the furnace. And on the other side of this flaming car, on the outside wall of the house, is another 500-gallon tank of gasoline. Right? It's the 70s, and my dad is buying gasoline in bulk so that he can pump it himself and save money. So that's the scene, right? And my mom has run and grabbed all the keys. And so first thing, my dad jumps in the Oldsmobile and drives it up out of harm's way, because no use in getting a good paint job wrecked. Then he comes running back and he jumps into the brown station wagon and he starts it and it stalls, and he starts it and he stalls, and he does this over and over, and finally the engine takes hold. He jumps out, runs back into the smoking garage where he comes running back out with this old giant rusty logging chain. And he wraps the logging chain around the front bumper of the station wagon, and then he wraps the other end of it around the back bumper of the Bel Air that has no battery in it. And he starts pulling it with the station wagon up the driveway away, to get it out of the way, because it's blocking the Volkswagen. And of course, fits and starts, it stops, it stalls, right? He's cursing, my mom is shrieking. He finally gets it out of the way. He drives around it, wraps the logging chain around the bumper of the Volkswagen, and eventually, again, fits and starts, manages to drag this thing out into the driveway where it sits, shooting 20-foot flames in the air. Now, by this time, I have moved well away from the action. I'm thinking oil tanks, kaboom. I have walked across the dirt road that we live on, and I'm standing at the edge of a hayfield just kind of mesmerized by this whole thing. And a couple of neighbors come running from either side. One guy comes running, he's got a rake and a shovel because he thinks it's a brush fire. And the guy on the other side comes up, he's empty-handed, but he has all these questions, and he says, what happened? And I remember not even being able to answer him right away. I remember just staring through the flames out at the boxes that were strewn past it on the lawn and thinking, why? Of all the things that my mother could have dragged out of the house, why slides? And of course now I know exactly why, in retrospect, right? Because it's what we do. It's who we are. We rail against time and the decay of memory. With time, we don't even know how to define. Richard Feynman, a very famous physicist, even threw his hands up and decided we had no good definition for time. But the fact is, we are moored in the present, relentlessly moored now, and then now, and then now. And yet, we yearn to time travel. We strain towards the past or towards the future, trying to bring it into the present moment with us. And we do it in a million ways, right? We do it with photography and movie making and writing and poems and painting and drawing and, storytelling. Kind of the big one. And then I sort of came back to myself, and the guy's question filtered through, what happened? And I kind of look at him, and then I clear my throat, and I state the obvious. We had a fire. Thank you.